This is a revolution for the sincere people of this country. They're the ones that want to make the change. They're the ones that will make the change.
Tonight, violent protests are spreading across Egypt as people threaten to take down the government. Good evening, I'm Erin Kiernan.
I'm Dan Winters. Today, Egypt's president called on his cabinet to resign.
But protesters say that isn't good enough. They want him to go as well. This is the fourth day of riots and protests, with each growing more violent. The protesters are calling for the creation of a democracy in Egypt and an end to the dictatorship of Hosni Mubarak. Several areas of the country are under a government-ordered curfew. It is enforced by riot police and Egypt's military. The government also shut down the internet and cell service to prevent protesters from organizing. At least 5 protesters have been killed. More than 1,000 are wounded.
And despite the danger, some Egyptian college students at Iowa State say they wish they could join the fight for a new government. Janae Town has their story. It's new at 10.
Far from the chaos of Cairo,
the faces of the people are just like my friends, my neighbors, my relatives. So I feel like I am there with them.
Iowa's Egyptian community stood in solidarity with the protesters of their homeland, carrying signs and calling for an end to President Mubarak's 3 decades in power.
The hundreds of thousands in Cairo after the Friday service today, getting out to express their anger. I would definitely be there. I would definitely like to be there with them.
But since he can't join them, Anwar Muhammad is doing the next best thing. He's spreading the message.
We need some real radical change for Egypt, and this is the perfect time.
Watching the unprecedented events from afar isn't easy for Nermeen Sabri.
We are very anxious and we barely have any sleep at all.
She's called Iowa home for the last 9 years, but her family still lives in Cairo. She's waiting for word from Egypt after the government shut down all internet and cell phone connections.
We pray that things, will go very smoothly without, lots of casualties or lots of injuries or lots of destructions. We are hoping, to hear some good news soon.
Until then, protesters are demanding change from the streets of Egypt to the campus at Iowa State.
Hosni, go away. What we're doing here is just a symbolic thing, but this is we can do at the time being.
And about 60 people attended today's rally at Iowa State. Supporters of a new government are asking the U.S. to put pressure on President Mubarak. They say it'll take more than words to stop the violence that has erupted there.
All right, thanks so much, Janae.
The protesters put U.S. leaders in a difficult position. Do they support Mubarak, America's biggest ally in the Mideast, or support protesters in their call for democracy? Today, Vice President Joe Biden sided with Mubarak, saying he should remain in power, but that he should take steps to reform the government. President Obama focused more on the protesters and called on the Egyptian government to end the violence against its own citizens.
As the situation continues to unfold, our first concern is preventing injury or loss of life. So I want to be very